statewide office since Forrest Gump was. The state of Texas has not elected a Democrat to statewide office since Forrest Gump was the #1 movie in the country. Senate candidate Beto O'Rourke is trying like hell to change that, and if he does, he might look back on today as the moment that made it happen, and that is because today is the last day to register to vote in the state of Texas. This year has seen a surge in registered voters, a jump of 1.6 million since the last time Texas held a midterm election in 2014. O'Rourke now trails Ted Cruz by just 5 points in the latest polling, though some have it closer. And a super PAC has released this ad directed by Oscar nominee Richard Linklater attacking Cruz.
Somebody left something on my door the other day. It said, Ted Cruz, toughest Texas. I mean, come on. If somebody called my wife a dog and said my daddy was in on the Kennedy assassination, I wouldn't be kissing their ass. You stick a finger in their chest and give them a few choice words. Or you drag their ass out by the woodshed and kick their ass, Ted. Come on, Ted.
Joining me now is Texas Congressman and Democratic Senate candidate Beto O'Rourke. And Congressman, I should be clear that you do not approve that message. That is an independent group spending on your behalf.
Yeah, that's not our stuff. I'm not down with super PACs. We're running this one with people. No PACs, no special interests, no outside interests, going to every one of the 254 counties of Texas. Today at Texas Southern University, here in Houston after that at Rice, yesterday at Lone Star Community College. We are with people, especially people who've been counted out or written off, young people who aren't expected to vote. We're there with them so that their stories become part of why we're campaigning and what we deliver on. And I tell you what, when we win, they're going to be a big part of the reason that we do. They are the leaders of this moment, and they're showing up, and they're registering, as you just said, and they're making a commitment to vote on October 22nd, our first day of early voting in Texas.
So you just did this college tour. So part of the problem for Democrats is that Texas, when you look at it from a sort of 30,000-foot view, it seems like the vote should be there to win statewide for a Democrat. But turnout in Texas has been among the worst in the country. This is a Washington Post analysis. If you look at 2006, 2010, and 2014, it's at the very bottom with voter turnout in midterms around 30%. What is your understanding of why that is?
So don't take my word for it. The courts 4 times last year found that people have been drawn out of their congressional districts based on their race and ethnicity, drawn out of a reason to vote, drawn out of their democracy. Now, the onus is on us to transcend that, give everyone a reason to vote, hence showing up in every county and showing up within every community, within every county. Writing nobody off, taking no one for granted, giving everyone a reason to vote and help to set the expectations to which I'm going to perform in the Senate. And you see that on these college campuses. You see that in the 3rd Ward or Kashmir Garden here in Houston. You see it in every community we go to. Go into the Rio Grande Valley, where you've been, in Edinburgh and Weslaco and San Benito and McAllen, Brownsville, listening to those who've been taken for granted for too long and hence haven't shown up to vote. We're showing up for them right now. And this... Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just, because those are places, the places you just mentioned are actually some of the lowest turnout in the state of Texas, which is already a low turnout state, right? Those places you just mentioned, particularly around the border of the Rio Grande Valley. What do you tell them about why it matters for them to vote for you, to send you to Washington, and not Ted Cruz, that is tangible to deliver back to them?
A couple of things that have come up in these town hall meetings, especially along the border. Ted Cruz has promised to deport every single dreamer. I say free dreamers from any fear of deportation by making them U.S. citizens. Let's keep families together. Let's never take another child from another parent at their most desperate and vulnerable moment. And let's insist that every child who's in a foster care home in Michigan, is in a tent city in Tornillo, be reunited with their parents immediately. Let's rewrite our immigration laws in our own image to reflect what we know to be true. Those cities of the border, cities like El Paso, my hometown, one of the safest in the United States of America, not in spite of, but because of the fact that we are cities of immigrants. Nothing to wall off or militarize or be defensive about or apologize for. It's the example that we have set that can help lead this country in the right direction. I tell you what, never a better time to be on or from the border. The people of the border want to lead, but we need to show up and make sure that their leadership is included in this campaign and then in our service.
You know, I think the Ted Cruz play here, and I'm curious what you think this campaign is about, right? If you were to say what the one issue is. It seems to me that he thinks that he can kind of get you on cultural issues. That Texas is a conservative state and he's a conservative, and he can kind of push you away like that. On the issues, what do you see as the top issues in this race in terms of substance between the two of you? Things you stand for, things he opposes.
Healthcare is a great example because I hear about that in every single county, no matter how red or how blue. We're the least insured state in the United States of America. Number one provider of mental health care services, the county jail system. Ted Cruz has insisted that we repeal every single word of the Affordable Care Act, including protections for pre-existing conditions. I want to expand Medicaid, offer Medicare as a choice on the exchanges, get to universal, guaranteed, high-quality health care for every single man, woman, and child. There cannot be a greater difference than that one. On immigration, he wants to deport the dreamers. I want them here as U.S. citizens. I want to make sure that we have a legal path to citizenship for those who want to come out of the shadows and be with their families. Criminal justice reform, I know that we have a school-to-prison pipeline that begins as early as kindergarten. I want to make sure that we have equity in education, that we end the war on drugs, that we end the prohibition on marijuana, that we expunge the arrest records for those who serve time for possession of a substance that's legal in so much of the rest of this country, so they can get on with their lives, work a job, go to school, better themselves. These are the issues of substance that people are asking me about, wanting us to lead on.
Let me get you on the record on Judge Kavanaugh. Would you have voted to confirm him?
I would not have. We're 50th in the country, as you said, in voter turnout, by design, on purpose. Some people not intended to vote. We need a Supreme Court justice who believes in voting rights. In a state where you can be fired for being gay, a Supreme Court justice who believes in civil rights. A state that's the epicenter of the maternal mortality crisis, a justice who believes in a woman's right to make her own decision about her own body and have access to the health care that ensures that she can. He fails the bar on each and every single one of those tests. So the next justice to be nominated can only be confirmed if he, or importantly she, can meet those qualifications. I'm going to make sure that we hold the president to that bar for each and every single one of those issues.
Congressman Beto O'Rourke, whose voice shows you just how hard he's working. Thank you very much for making time.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Coming up, Purdue